Finally, Business Insider has this article. Headline is, Gen Z is obsessed with renting. From dresses to strollers to wine glasses, renting lives in Gen Zers' heads rent-free. So the article, unfortunate pun there in the headline, but not really unfortunate. I think you should put a pun in any headline where you can fit it in. I'm a big believer in puns. So the article describes this phenomenon that I hadn't heard of it. Well, I hadn't heard of it to this extent. And maybe they're exaggerating in the article, who knows. But I didn't know this was a thing. Lots of people apparently, especially young people they're talking about, are renting not just apartments to live in. We knew that. But also everything in the apartment, especially clothing. So there are these clothing rental subscription services. Everyone has a million subscription services now. And here's another one. It's a subscription service, and you rent clothes from other people. Secondhand clothing rentals. So you can wear a pair of pants that 27 other people have already worn. That's the pitch. You can wear a pair of pants that contain, frankly, the fumes of 27 other people embedded into the fabric. Not to get too scientific, but that's what's being offered. People are also renting apparently accessories, home decor, jewelry, glassware, utensils, furniture, everything. Now, the analysis you'll hear from most people about this, and I think this is kind of the argument the article makes, is that, well, the economy is in such rough shape. The economy is in the toilet, and so that's why that's why renting has become so popular. This is why Gen Z they're a generation of renters. They rent everything because they can't afford to buy anything because everything's so expensive, and the economy is in the toilet. But that's not really what's going on here. That's not actually what's going on. Now, it is true the economy is in rough shape. Everything's too expensive. All that stuff is true, but that's not why you've got all the renting going. That's not why. That doesn't explain this phenomenon that we're talking about here. Because there's no way in hell that renting clothes from a clothing rental subscription service is in any way cheaper than just buying them secondhand or from a place like Walmart or wherever and keeping them in your closet and wearing them multiple times, as people have always done. That's the normal thing to do. I have shirts in my closet that I've worn 1,000 times, 10,000 times. And that is definitely cheaper than renting, without any question at all. And this is what you see sometimes. You see this kind of phenomenon. Gen Z, they're renting everything. And the explanation is always, it's because of the economy. It's because they can't afford. Well, yeah, but you're doing something that's more expensive. So that doesn't make any sense. What's actually happening is that people are spending more. They're actually spending more with the excuse of a bad economy, low income, and all that sort of thing. What's happening is people are spending more on these kinds of things. And they're doing it so they can get the designer outfit and post a picture on Instagram. That's what the point of this really is. They rent the article talked about, they rent the home decor and the glassware and then post a picture of the table spread for Instagram, which is basically the whole point. And it's much, much more expensive than just buying these items and using them thousands of times, as again, almost all people have always done since forever. But the effect is this, and this is why I hate this. Well, 3 reasons. First of all, this is consumerism, materialism, wastefulness, cloaked as being thrifty and living affordably. And it's really the opposite of that. And there's a lot of this kind of thing going around. This is supposed to be, well, you're renting it, so it's cheaper. I'm being wiser with my money. No, this is not that. This is the opposite. And people think that just because they don't own anything, they don't buy anything, they only rent, that they're somehow living a more humble and affordable lifestyle. But they aren't at all. And the second problem is that it's performative. This is life as performance. It's about getting things so you can post about it on social media. And that's not real. That's not authentic. You cannot be a happy or well-rounded or good or interesting person if you're not authentic. And I don't mean authentic in a kind of shallow self-help mumbo-jumbo sort of way. I mean authentic as in honest, just living a real honest life, which this isn't. And third, most importantly, it's very bad to have so many people who own nothing. And that's where we are. I mean, think about it. Think about the life of someone who subscribes to one of these clothing rental services. And I don't know how many people do. But think about their life. We can assume they don't own the home they live in, right? They don't own their land. They probably live in an apartment. They don't own their car. They don't own the clothes on their back. Many of them don't own their furniture, their utensils. They have a lot of stuff. Okay, that's the point. They possess a great many things, but they don't own any of it. So they have a materialistic lifestyle without the ownership that used to come with that. So it's really the worst of all worlds. To be surrounded with crap, with stuff, to be incredibly materialistic, but to not own any of it. It's really the worst combination for a person. Because if you own very little, but also possess very little, well, then at least you reap the spiritual rewards of, an austere, humble, minimalist life. And on the other hand, if you have a lot of stuff, that could be very materialistic. But if you own it, well, then there are rewards that come with owning things. Like, this is mine. I have it. This is my thing, right? And depending on what it is, this is something I can pass down to my family, and there are real rewards that come from that. This is the worst of all worlds. And I think this is kind of the disconnect between Gen Z and boomers, because they're always locked in this debate, this contest, where Gen Z says that, well, they have it so much worse than the boomers did. And, and then boomers say, oh, well, you ungrateful brats, you have the easiest lives anyone's ever lived. You don't know how good you have it. And it goes back and forth. And the truth is that it's kind of a third option, which is this, that Gen Z are correct, that they have to deal with things that no other generation of Americans really had to deal with, at least not to this extent. A country overrun by third world invaders. They have to compete against the entire world. It's worse now than it's ever been, so no one has had to deal with that at this level. They're in massive debt from getting worthless college degrees that they were, they were cajoled and coerced into getting, and everything is way more expensive than it should be. All of that is true. The quality of everything has gone down. We talked about that last week. Even when it comes to something like restaurant food, the quality, it's like more expensive, but the quality, it's all frozen food and not fresh and coming off the back of the same Cisco truck. All that is true. And in this war between boomers and Gen Z and millennials, I'm millennial, so we kind of, I don't know, we're sort of in the middle of it. But this is something that I think often the boomers are not willing to acknowledge, all those points. However, it's also true that boomers lived much humbler lives, for the most part, when they were the age that Zoomers are now. They had less stuff. They had a lot less. We talk about how they could buy homes. Boomers, when they were 24 years old, just got married, they could go buy a home. And a lot of them could, and that is true. They were not big homes. They were not living in palaces, though. They were living in like small houses. And, if the average Zoomer had to live like the average boomer lived in 1973, they would probably treat it like solitary confinement in prison. I mean, they wouldn't know how to live such a minimal, non-materialistic life. So, you've got Gen Z saying the economy is destroyed. We have to compete against the whole globe. Country is bankrupted. And then boomers say, hey, when we were your age, we lived much humbler and less extravagant and luxurious lives than you kids do today. We worked really hard and all that kind of stuff. And then Zoomers say, yeah, but you owned a house and you had a car that was paid off and you could buy a week's worth of groceries for 98 cents at a toothpick. And then boomers say, yeah, well, you kids have TVs and video games and phones and subscription services and way more luxury and material possessions than we ever had. And the truth is, like, they're both right, which is the worst option. Actually, I'd rather it be door number 1 or 2, but it's kind of door number 3. It's the worst of all worlds, really, where we're the economy's in bad shape, people are broke, but it's also a very materialistic culture, and people have many more things than they need, and all this kind of thing.